Ladies and gentlemen, a Wild Heroes of the Storm patch has appeared, and we are now officially in beta rather than alpha, and I'm here to walk you through some of the changes that have occurred to the game with this latest patch. First and foremost, as you can see, the newest hero, Thrall, War Chief of the Horde, has been added to the game. Preliminary inspection to me tells me he's probably just a little bit broken at this time, so we'll be seeing him get some changes, I'm sure. I say this mainly because of his trait that allows him to heal after about 5 hits of any of abilities, and those heals are roughly about 20% of his health. So we'll see as I get a chance to try him. I'll go ahead and go out and give him some preliminary testing and give you guys my thoughts afterwards. But I definitely think he's very strong from the beginning. Go ahead and show off his skin and tones, as well as his master skin, which I rather appreciate because it's a combination of his current skin in World of Warcraft with his Doomhammer armor, which I really like, the black armor that he has. It just makes him look menacing, really. And we also have the Hellhammer Thrall skin available. I'll be going over him in more detail later, of course. One of the new additions to the beta is the new game mode, the Hero League. This is a draft mode, as you might have seen in other MOBA-style games, in which each team can pick only one character. You can't have any duplicates, so you won't see 2 Thralls, you won't see 2 Jaina's. Only one team can have one of that character. Once it's chosen, it's completely locked out. I like the fact that they're adding this mode finally. You have to unlock level 30 in order to get into Hero League. Team League is only available once you get to level 40. I'm talking about your account levels here, not character levels, because character levels, obviously, those only go up to 10. Team League is not available yet. It's not in the beta. It will be added a little bit later. But for now, they're giving people a chance to get up to Hero League, which is level 30. But here's the problem. Not only do you have to be level 30, but you must own at least 10 heroes. I own all of 3, and that's after using a booster pack. As you can see, I do have enough gold to probably try and make this work, but I think, if anything, if you've seen my video regarding stim packs and the generation of gold in this game in regards to prices of heroes, I think this is a really good indicator that maybe some of these prices need to change, or gold generation needs to change. Because I'm honestly, I'd have to take a look. If I bought a whole bunch of low-level heroes, I might be able to just scrape in and get the 10 heroes I need, as long as I go inexpensive. Now, there has been a price change, and unfortunately, I can't tell exactly what this means for future heroes. And unfortunately, there's really only one hero that's been changed, and that's Stitches. He went down to 7,000. So he is now 849 or 7,000 coins, which I believe was previously 10,000. So he has been reduced, so that's good. That means we're seeing that they are going to reduce some hero prices, but it's only this one hero at this one time. This is by no means a precedence, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future. A new map, Sky Temple, has been added to the game, and this adds a very interesting flavor to the whole 3-lane system of MOBA games. You have these 3 temples that will activate throughout the fight. You can only capture these temples once they've been activated. After you stand in the temple for a few seconds, the temple will become yours, and will start firing upon your enemy's base and doing substantial damage. The problem here is that the temple guardians don't like you taking their power. So as you stand in the circle, the guardians will be fighting you. The longer you can hold out against the guardians, the longer you will hold the temple's favor and will get the power to shoot your enemy's base. So it's not like a lot of the other capture points where you capture it and forget it. You actually have to hold on to the circle. And because the points are random, and means you can see massive fights happen at some of these locations, because sometimes only one temple will be up, sometimes 2, sometimes all 3. Whether or not this is random, I have yet to determine. I'll have to go through a few fights. It could be in a predetermined order. Each temple will fight until it runs out of ammunition, in which case it will then go dormant until the next temple restarts. With this patch, of course, comes some new skins as well, not just Thrall, but because of the new map, Sky Temple, you have some skins that are thematically correct for it too. You have Tassadar's, Crypt King Tassadar. You have Brightwing, the Luxorian Monkey Brightwing. Luxoria is the world of the Sky Temple. And Desert Queen Zagara. Along with these come new bundles, of course. You can get the Hellhammer Thrall bundle, which will come with both Hellhammer Thrall and Thrall himself. And there's a bundle for the new skins for the Luxoria Complete Bundle. Of course, this will give you not only the Luxoria skins, but the Magic Carpet Mount, which is thematically themed after that world. This will eventually become an item that will be sold by itself, but at this time it is currently exclusive to the bundle. This bundle also gives you Zagara, Tassadar, and Brightwing, so that you can have the characters with the skins. Do you have all the characters already? Well, you can just get the skin bundle if you so desire. Both come with the Magic Carpet. Aside from bundles, they've added weekly sales to the game. Now, these sales appear to only affect the price in dollars. At this time, there are two different sales. You will either see one hero and two skins, or one hero, one skin, and one mount. Unfortunately, there is no sale button, as you can see. The only way to really see is to scroll through, and you will eventually see, hey, look, there's Arthas for 50% off. We go into skins, and we can see that there are a couple skins that are off here. Let's just scroll through real fast. We can see that Vampire Slayer Vala is on sale. Crown Prince Arthas is on sale. But there's no way to see it through here normally. So if you don't see two skins, then you might want to go into mounts to see if one of those is on sale. So hopefully they will add a tab for that. But unfortunately, again, this sale really only occurs to the price in dollars. You still have to pay the full amount of coins. Alright, let's go ahead and go over some of the core mechanic changes. The first is to cloaking. So this is an indirect nerf to both Nova and Zeratul. Cloaking's reveal duration has been increased from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. So they have one more second they have to wait before they go back into cloaking mode before they can't be targeted by standard abilities and can only be hit by skill shots. This is by all means a nerf, because this makes them very vulnerable for a lot longer, especially since a character like Nova doesn't have very many escapes, if any at all. They've also changed it so you can no longer cast the Hearthstone within the Altar of Storms. I believe this is a change in order to prevent people from spamming Hearthstone while they're already in the altar, to help increase the speed at which they recover health and mana. As you may recall, you do get a flat amount of health and mana back from using your Hearthstone, which was added in the most recent patch prior to this one. Beyond that, the core will now do 20% increased damage versus heroes. So the core is a lot more lethal to enemy heroes, meaning you'll probably need a more concentrated effort to take it out. You can't just rush in. Although I can still see some characters being able to do so with certain abilities and high-end damage. Abathur's Symbiote and Tassadar's Plasma Shield can now once again be cast on the core. So this makes the core, fighting for the core, defending it and attacking it, a little more of a tactical battle. Because you now have to deal with the fact that your enemies can try and shield it from your onslaught. Now on the other side of this coin, towers, the amount of time that towers are disabled while regenerating ammunition has been increased from 20 seconds to 30. And this was done to align with a previous change in which the rate of tower ammo regeneration was reduced. It was reduced to 1 per 15 seconds. So now the towers will come back online with 2 ammunition. So the core is a little stronger, while the towers, if you manage to make them lose their ammo, will be down for a little bit longer. Grave Golems have been given a little bit of a shot in the arm. Their root will no longer cause the Grave Golem to pause when they cast it, so they can keep running and they can keep attacking when they use root. It will now be cast on ranged minions as well, although it will still prefer heroes. The Stomp ability, it's AoE. The post-cast delay has been removed, so it will not be stunned for a brief moment after it uses it. This makes it very much more lethal. It will now be cast when there are at least 2 heroic units around the Grave Golem, which is the previous behavior. Before he would only stomp with 2 heroes, but now he will also do it if there's at least 3 minions. As well as the stomp's damage to minions has been increased, so the Golem will now be able to clear out the minions much more quickly, meaning it's going to take a lot less damage from creep in general, so heroes will have to respond to it much more often. A Stomp will not be cast unless the Grave Golem is already stationary, so you can't cause the Grave Golem to stop in the middle of its run. So that was one tactic that I had seen employed previously, is if you've got a Grave Golem coming to your base, you want to try and force it to go into a Stomp animation in which you walk out of the Stomp while it's on its way. It slows it down, allows you to do a bit more damage. Now it won't do so unless it is already stopped. So it makes a headline right towards the base, and then it will start doing its damage immediately. Now let me show you a change that I absolutely love. If they're going to do gated talents,
You like what you see?
which they are still, they still have gated talents. Let me kind of go to a character that has gated talents. There we go. So you can see they still have gated talents. They're still locked out until you reach a certain level. But they have finally said at level 20, they've rearranged the talents so that the augments to your ultimates are now the first things you get. Hallelujah! Thank goodness, because it was kind of annoying to have to deal with the generic ultimate modifiers, and it really made it kind of a pain to play a hero for the first couple times until you could unlock their ultimate modifiers, because you really felt like you were losing a bit of power there. I know it's not that many games, but even with a booster pack, it can still be 2 or 3 games before I can truly unleash a hero's potential. Now, I won't feel too bad about going into a fight with a level 1 hero and saying, cool, I have these abilities. So right from level 1, you'll get your first ultimate, and you'll get your ultimate's modifier. Once you unlock the second ultimate, you will automatically have the second ultimate's modifier. So you can have both of those and try them immediately. Also, you may notice that something is missing here from the level 20 pool. That's right, Resurgence of the Storm has finally been removed from the game. This is something they had been talking about, and something that I was really hoping they would do, is Resurgence of the Storm had the ability to really destabilize games, and not only that, but caused some games to go overly long when they didn't need to. It also undermined the ability of characters like Diablo, who could come back on their own with their own mechanics. Obviously, Blizzard is looking for feedback on this. I think it's going to go over pretty well, honestly. But you can leave your feedback in the comment section below if you so desire, or of course on the official forums. I just want to point out a couple other things that have been changed. The Call Down Mule, which is a ability that you can get through talents that allows you to repair your structures and give them back ammo, has been modified. It should be a lot more responsive to damage now. It will prioritize damage over ammo, and it gives ammo when it repairs, so it's not going to be one or the other. Call Down Mule is going to be a bit more effective now, so we have a few more defensive options, which is nice. Mercenary Lord, though, however, has been changed, and I'm not sure how I feel about this one. So Mercenary Lords previously used to be when you captured a when you captured a mercenary camp. Depending on which type it was, it would get a different bonus. The siege minions, which are the 2 giants, would gain additional damage. The bruiser camps, which is the knight camp, would gain health, so they would be harder to kill and would push down the lane a bit further.
Just let me know.
In this case, both the siege and bruiser minions now will deal 50% more damage. They don't get more health. But what you may also notice is the wording is different now. You have to be near them. So it used to be Mercenary Lord was one of those really powerful jungling abilities, and only certain characters really jungled, and Gazlo here is one of them. So you could go out, capture a whole bunch of mercenary camps, and they would all be more powerful. He didn't have to actually stand near them. Well, now, he can still do his jungling job, he's still really powerful at it, but he's going to only get the benefit from Mercenary Lord if he decides to pick it by standing by the mercenaries themselves. So this still means you can grab 2 or 3 mercenary camps and have them push on a lane, and if you push with them, then they're going to do a bunch of damage. I mean, 50% more per mercenary camp is still quite a bit, but it means you have to be an active participant in the lane pushing. And in a way, this kind of stops split pushing on a Gazlo, because it used to be you could push on a lane with enhanced mercenaries, and then go to a different lane and help out with your own personal presence. Now you have to put your presence in the lane you want to push with the mercenaries. Now, there have been a ton of changes to characters overall. Some characters have gone through some massive reworks, including Falstad, Lili, and most obviously Abathur. Abathur's gone through a massive change. So many changes that it's going to be really hard for me to do it here. What I'll try and do is go over each one in their own videos if I can. But I want to show some noticeable changes that I think are really cool and kind of affect the face of the game. For one is Robo-Goblin here for Gazlowe. Robo-Goblin used to be an ability you would activate, and it would give him 250% damage, additional damage to structures and minions, which meant it was very powerful for taking out minion camps, most notably the Grave Golem. Gazlowe could solo a Grave Golem very quickly by using Robo-Goblin. Now, this is the first ever ultimate in the game that's passive. Robo-Goblin for Gazlowe will give him a passive 150% damage to minions, mercenaries, and structures. So again, it used to be 250, so they reduced the amount to even it out, so it's not overpowerful. It should even out to be roughly the same up and down time that you would have seen before when you could toggle it. Now the difference here being that he probably won't be able to solo a Grave Golem near as easily as he could before. He probably still can, but previously he could take a Grave Golem down in only a few seconds because of how powerful it was. But now you actually have a passive on it, and it can be modified to increase that damage to heroes at level 20. So Gazlowe can actually become a pretty big bruiser in that case. Well, Lily here is one of the characters that's also gone through a pretty nice revamp, but that's not what I want to talk about while I'm looking at her here. This is another thing that's changed, is the fact that we now have some personalized level 20 talents, aside from just generic ones. And I'm not just talking about ultimates. Looking at Lily, you can see here she's got her modifiers for Jug of a Million Cups and Double Dragon. But she also has a new one called Kung Fu Hustle. You can now opt to not update one of your ultimate abilities, and rather than get the shield or the teleport, you can get Kung Fu Hustle. In this case, it gives her abilities recharged 3 times as fast, while her Fast Feet trait is active. That can be a pretty massive benefit. Anytime she takes damage, she's getting triple the cooldown reduction, able to heal a lot more, and put out a lot more damage, and of course, enfeeblements. Abathur here, though, is probably the biggest indicator of it, as he has 4 abilities that are all personal to him. He has no generic talents in this level 20 pool at all. Now, I want to bring up Abathur because his change is probably one of the biggest. A lot of his abilities have gone through some pretty hefty changes. For example, his symbiote now no longer has a duration on it, and he now has a new ultimate ability called Evolve Monstrosity, in which he can create a giant minion and then take control of it using the symbiote. So not just getting the abilities, but actually being able to move it. So if you ever wanted to use your symbiote, and instead of hoping the hero moved where you wanted to, you can actually take control of the monstrosity. You still have the symbiote's abilities, and you can do both at the same time. So it's nice to see them putting out some kind of gameplay style for Abathur for those that want to go into it. And seeing these new level 20 talents is really cool. So we can see here, for example, he gets a Locust Nest that allows him to periodically spawn locusts down a lane. Abathur is already really strong at split lane farming by standing in one lane, putting out locusts for experience, and then using his symbiote in another lane. Now, Abathur is the first character that could really have true global 3-lane presence by being in one lane, having his locusts having his own locust and a nest in 2 different lanes, and then of course a symbiote in a 3rd lane. That's of course until we get, say, the Lost Vikings, but they'll be a little bit harder to do in a 3-lane scenario because they'll each individually be weaker. But I think that's pretty neat to see some of these unique gameplay styles coming into the game. Alright, I will put patch notes link in the video description for those that want to take a look at them. I highly recommend it, especially if you're deciding to get into the game. If you've gotten maybe a beta invite, if you have, congratulations. There should be a lot more invites going out, so I'm looking forward to seeing more and more people in the player pool. You'll definitely want to know, though, especially if you've been following, say, any of my videos or maybe anyone else's videos out there regarding heroes, because there are quite a bit of changes that have come into this patch for a lot of the heroes. So you might want to brush up a bit to know what's going on out there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I look forward from hearing any of your feedback and what you think about the new patch in the comments below.